Have you ever heard of that song, "For Dead in Ohio" by Neil Young? Well, that's a common song that a lot of people think of the May 4th, 1970 shooting of the Ohio National Guardsmen. But Sandra Lee Scheuer was killed in that shooting. She was the one well known that just walking in class. She did have no part in that demonstration, but she was just walking in class and she was shot by a stray bullet. Happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was a very controversial shooting. Should have probably never happened. The Ohio National Guardsmen admitted that, but it was during a time where there was a lot of protesting on college campuses and a lot of students were throwing rocks at the guardsmen, so I suppose they felt threatened. I think they heard in the crowd of guardsmen to yell to fire, so they just fired on a group of students who are mainly unarmed, and they might have had rocks, but you can't really cause much damage with the rocks. So it's too bad that she died that day. She's a very pretty young 20-year-old college student, honor student, and she really could have lived a very productive life, had children, and been a great citizen. And it was really unfortunate that she died on that day. Oftentimes during that era, at college campuses around the country, people were protesting the expansion of the Vietnam War. So that's the reason mainly there was the protesting. It was getting out of hand, and I think that's why they opened fire. But it was a wrong thing to do, and it was unfortunate that somebody who had even no part in the shooting was killed. And Sandra Lee went by Sandy. She seemed like a great person. She seemed like a person that I would really get along with if I went to school with her. And I did go to Kent State. Obviously, I wasn't even born in 1970. When I was in school, that was always a huge thing to talk about, especially around the time of May 4th and around the time it happened. But too bad that she died. This is a cool cemetery plot, a little bit different. I'll kind of go to the entrance and share a little bit about this, where it's at and how it got here. I do apologize if I mispronounced this, but here's the entrance of the cemetery. It's on Tippecanoe Road. It's called Congregation Ohev Sadak Shari Torah Cemetery. I thought it was going to be closed when I looked it on Google Maps, but fortunately it's open. So I'm able to get in and show you somebody who died on May 4th, 1970. So as you can see on the top here, there's a menorah and then her name and a bunch of rocks on the top here. That's pretty cool. Seashells, and I suppose it's just in honor of her. From what I've seen here, some of them have rocks on the gravestones here, but this one has by far the most that I've seen. It doesn't look like there's many recent tombstones here at this cemetery either. Fortunately, it was a beautiful day, and I'm continuing the series on doing cemetery tours because people are a whole lot more interesting than towns. The towns are very interesting, but the people within the towns are even more interesting. And Sandra Lee Scheuer was, you know, I don't know if she really did much in her life. She was an honor student at Kent State, and you know, she died too young, obviously. But the main reason we know about her is because of the Ohio National Guardsmen opened fire at Kent State and on May 4th, 1970. As you can see, I'm wearing my Kent State gear because I'm a Kent State alum. I loved going to Kent State, but it was pretty cool because always around this time of year, we'd always start watching movies and some of our classes. I remember the onboarding class, which was like 1 credit hour when I first started school at Kent. I remember we did like a full series on the Kent State shootings. And that was pretty cool. And I think most people agree it was, the shooting should have never happened. Students were being out of hand, but students get that way from time to time. But this is America. The government shouldn't just come in and tell you, you know, shouldn't just come in and kill you because you're throwing rocks at them. They should be prepared and have the means to fight off rocks. I can understand if somebody's shooting a gun at a police officer, how they can, you know, return fire for self-defense. But rocks and just a bunch of students protesting and then have a controversial war. I think the shooting probably should have never happened on May 4th. But it is what it is. It happened. It's part of America's history. It's something that they learn from, and hopefully it will never happen again. But things like that happen all the time. So we'll see, and yeah, I appreciate you watching. You have a great day.